This webinar is hosted by Pet Industry Network. Guys, the Pet Industry Network is a collaborative group of trusted and experienced experts helping pet businesses grow smarter across every area. So from operations and hiring to branding, marketing, and beyond. Whether you run a pet brand or you're a pet retailer or a service provider like a trainer or walker or sitter or walker or sitter or daycare boarding facility, whatever it is, our goal is to connect you guys with the people and strategies that actually move the needle in your business. So if you're not already familiar with PIN, definitely check us out. We'll drop a link in the chat. It is www.petindustrynetwork.com. Before we dive in, I do want to introduce someone who really knows what it takes to run a successful pet business, especially when things get really hectic. So Lynn Switanowski is one of my deepest and closest friends here in the pet industry. She's also the founder and top dog of Pet Retail Helper. She spent years helping pet retailers and groomers and service providers, just like you guys, adapt, survive, and do more than survive, thrive in today's competitive marketplace. I think maybe my favorite thing about Lynn is that she is a straight shooter. She is just going to tell it to you completely as it is. She's not about theory or long-term hypotheticals. Her and her team focus on really practical and proven solutions that drive immediate sales and profits. And this doesn't necessarily mean in like 2 years or 10 years, but I've seen it work in less than 2 months. So if you've ever wished you could simplify your operations or boost your margins or really just feel more in control around the busiest time of the year, you guys are in exactly the right place, and I'm really excited for this. So if you guys could join me in the chat in welcoming Lynn Switanowski to this, throw some emojis down there, give Lynn a nice warm welcome from our Pet Industry Network audience here.
Oh, you guys are very nice. Thank you.
We got some clapping. We got some emojis. We got some waves. Love to see it. All right, I did promise you guys maybe 5 minutes before I give it to Lynn. So gonna continue to ask you guys to utilize that chat function. Okay, so I got a question for you before we jump in. I'm gonna get a quick read of the room. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how stressful does the holiday season feel for your business? So go ahead and drop your number in the chat. 1 would be like unbothered Zen tranquility. You're sipping cocoa, you're ready for anything. 3 is like somewhere between festive and frantic, you know, maybe you're drinking too much coffee and trying to smile. 5 would be like full on chaos, right? You're basically wrapping gifts, answering phones, juggling customers. All right, I love how you guys have already gotten into the chat, but need to see a few more answers here. So we got some 5s. Lynn, of course, is a 1. That's classic. Some 3s and 4s. 3s and a 6. Oh, Jamie, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you gave it a 6 as well. This is great, actually. If you're feeling like you're somewhere between 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're definitely in the right spot. Our goal is to help you feel like maybe you're trending at least towards 2 or 1 after this. Okay, I got another question for you. We're going to dig a little bit deeper, right? How confident do you feel in your Q4 game plan right now? Looking for numbers again, right? So number 1, I wish I felt better about it. Number 2, I like where I'm at, but I know it could be a little bit better. And number 3, I already know I'm going to crush it. Lots of 1s, 2s, 1.5s. Okay, we have such a great audience here for you, Lynn, today. I'm so excited for everything that you're going to go over. Thanks, you guys, for jumping into the chat. So many 1s and 2s, and yeah, I saw a 1.5, which is, you know, we're going to accept that. Okay, last question for you guys. This is really going to help us like zero in on what's really going to make the difference for you this holiday season. So finish this sentence for me in the chat. 1 thing that would make my holiday season feel easier this year would be blank. Yeah, give it a second to give it a thoughtful answer if you need to. I'm not going to rush. 1 thing that would make my holiday season feel easier this year would be solid marketing plan, cooperative weather, crystal ball. It's an interesting answer. If the Blue Jays win the World Series, sometimes it seems like sports will solve everything. Consistent event attendance. I love that. New financial plan. Okay. some serious, thoughtful answers here. Love it, guys. Love it. Okay. Keep all that stuff in mind as I give the floor to Lynn here. Like I said, we're going to try and get you more towards feeling confident or unbothered, that state of Zen tranquility. But the good thing is I think you're already starting to think like strategists, right? These are the kind of challenges that Lynn's going to help you tackle today. So like I said, keep those answers in mind as we dive in, and hopefully we can get that cash flow flowing. So one quick reminder before I give it up here, guys, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat, label them with a Q so that I can take note of it, and we'll leave some time at the end to answer. So I'm going to put an example in there. That's just how it should look like. I'll keep note of it, and I'll make sure that we get some time to answer at the end. So Lynn, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
Let's rock. I'm going to stop sharing. You can start sharing, and we're going to go.
Okay, give me a second. Here we go. Let me share this. And there we go. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Yeah, we're good. Okay. So you guys, I want to tell you something. Matt, thank you for the very kind words. Matt and I have known each other a very long time, from when he was a baby. That's how old I am. We've known him for so long. But I did not know that he was going to set us up with those questions. He said he had a few slides. I'm like, go ahead, have fun. I wasn't kidding. I am, if you guys had a chance to see my answers, I mean this sincerely, like my whole wish, and Matt didn't read one thing I wish better, but my wish is that you all can make some plans, because then it's just executing the plan, and then it's changing the plan if it, doesn't go the way you want it. So I think of myself as a creative thinker, and I would like to share some of that creativity with you, or at least when I say creative, I don't just mean for marketing ideas. I mean about A, I have a goal in mind, and B, I got to figure out how to get there. And I think you guys don't give yourself enough credit. I think you are here. That's the first thing that we should talk about, right? You're here. You understand that this is a big time of year. There's a lot of profit to be made. Several of you I see were on. I was doing a session earlier today talking about kind of, if you will, simple year-end strategies. And I think that's sort of how I want you to think about this. Matt saying about holiday profit strategies, you're also at 5-6 days after Christmas, it's the end of the year. So how do we peak our inventory? How do we peak our, scheduling and performance if you're a service-based business? And then how do we very quickly crash that so that we make all the money we can, squeeze every dime out of it, and then start the new year ready to go? Right? That's sort of what we're going to get to today. So here we are, peak, do the sales, crash the inventory, do the performance on the services, whether that's boarding or grooming or, daycare, and then start January with a mindset that says, I want to make this happen the rest of the year. No looking back here. You're here. You're with us today. So the answer is, just because there were 10 months that already happened before this, that's fine. You're all here today. So let's move forward from that perspective. Deal? So I also want to make sure, as any of you have taken sessions from me before, my job isn't to sell you a book, isn't to sell you a service. We do this work for a living, but the idea is I want you to have as many tools as you can. So this QR code, if you scan it, that'll give you a copy of the presentation. I tried it and it worked for me. So hopefully you were able to open the QR code. I'm an old lady, so I have to check these things and double check. In fact, I'm checking it right now and I'm able to open it. So that's a good sign. So just take that. You'll have a copy of it from here on out, so you can watch the presentation and know you can get it for later. Okay? Are we good? Can I move on? Thumbs up if we got it. Okay, great. And I'm sure, knowing Matt, he's probably already taken a QR code and gotten it already downloaded, although I also gave him a copy today. All right, so what I want to start with is a couple of things, right? You guys know that, in the next 8 to 9 weeks, right, you got more volume coming up, you've got more sales coming up, which to your, earlier conversations leads to some stress. But let me ask you a question. Do you know today there's one person here who's going to know the answer to this question, which is probably Sally, which is, what are the top 5 to 7 sales days that you have in the next 8 weeks? How big are they? How important are they to your, holiday season sales? And do you know what they are? And have you planned to anniversary those events? Have you planned? And when I say anniversary, was it a sale? When I say anniversary, was it a big grooming or boarding or, a daycare day, right? The first thing you need to do is know, if you will, what you're up against. Total sales are one thing, but you will very much find out, I bet you, that within any given month, whether that's November or December, that there are critical days that make up a big bellwether swing for the month. And the other thing is, maybe last year you had a great, holiday season. And the thing is, these are, everything about the big days coming. But maybe if you take a look at your, calendar year to date so far, maybe the big days haven't been as big. So what do you need to do to make sure that you hit your sales plans? What do you need to do to anniversary that, right? Obviously, we're going to talk about inventory. We're going to talk about scheduling here. But to me, when I say, turning chaos into profit, it's really about you understanding. So it is, again, the 21st today. What have you done right now to identify, the weeks that happen? How much of your sales happen? Each month, in the pet industry, we have ebbs and flows. Yes, people need food, but I think that, there may be a chance that toy sales are down, that, people are spending less on ancillary services, right? So what are you looking at? How have you analyzed your business over the last 60, 90 days? Maybe year to date, to say, hey, even if I do the same things the same way this holiday season, I might not get the same results. For me, I understand I'm a consultant, and so I have time. But if I was to give you one piece of advice, it is to walk into or walk away from this call and say, hey, I need to spend some time. And as I'm saying, you as in the leadership of your organizations, how do you plan to make it happen? So that question that Matt asked about the chaos and how are you feeling, part of that, I wonder if it stems from the fact that you haven't had enough time to plan. So if you say to myself, the most important thing that I can do to help my business achieve, profitable results this holiday season is time to analyze. Or if you're not the person, to allow the person who does the analysis the time to do it. If there is anything you are doing in your day-to-day routine over the next week to 10 days, that is a tactic, that is on the selling floor covering, lunches, and there's some of that, I understand sometimes it has to happen, but what can you give up in your calendar, in your day-to-day calendar, to spend time planning for this next 60 days to have the best outcome you want? Because the more time that you're able to get off the day-to-day gerbil wheel and to spend time strategically planning for your business, thinking big, understanding. Have you reviewed last year's marketing calendar? Have you reviewed the weather? Do you know when you had snow days? Do you know when there were, big events in your town that you missed, or maybe that you did participate in, but you got to it late? Did you really uncover every, inflection point and what happened in your business last year, the trends you've been seeing so far in 2025, and use those to create the best optimal plan for going forward? That's what I wish for all of you, and to give yourself. That was my wish. If you could have one thing, it would be for you guys to have the time to do that. And when I say have the time, let me tweak that a little bit. I'm going to go one further and say make the time. If you are the thought leadership for your organization, you must make the time to plan for your success now more than ever. Okay? And the things that you can do to make that happen in each particular case that we're going to go forward here, I've tried to give you what I call a take action point, so that you can literally take the learning points and say, okay, how do I put this into action? So here, very specifically, I know you guys are pretty good at remembering everything and throwing a lot of balls in the air, but what if you didn't remember everything? What if you have a huddle with your team that says, what didn't work? Like, what was great? And then check, we've got that repeated. What broke, right? And these ones, I call them stress points: time, morale, or profit, right? It could be as simple as we had a line on our biggest sale of the season, and darn it, we could have used another register or two. This year, we're going to add 2 iPads for mobile checkout. This year, we're going to do it early, a day or 2 in advance, so that we can, for our best customers, so that we can relieve some of the traffic flow, right? And once you identify what broke or what didn't work, now we need a fix. Who can own this? You don't have to own everything, but you can, implement it. What do I need to do? What did our schedules look like? I just went through this with a client 2 weeks ago. We looked at November and December payroll hours, right? And they're like, and they skyrocketed. And when really push came to shove, there were, 4 big days, and they planned the rest of the month for those 4 big days. In fact, we overscheduled. So now we're going to go back and really just tweak the schedule for those days to make it work. But we're doing it way in advance so that we understand that we don't have to spend 3 points more on payroll when in fact we're doing, 10 points more in sales. Same thing with out of stock. If you're a retailer, right? Specifically, what are the top categories for this month, next month? Sales, right? And obviously food, is one. How big is treats? How big does toys get? I mean this, I want you to have as many gift sales as possible, but there is the distinct possibility that people may decide they can't afford a gift for their pet this year the same way they did before, to the same level. So what's your jeopardy? How do we need to, at least knowing what the potential jeopardy is, gives you a chance to kind of shift and make up for it. Maybe it's bundling, maybe it's more promotional activity, maybe it's getting to your customers before everybody else. Maybe it's the first, in my world, I look at 3 buckets, and I don't know if everybody looks at it quite as strategically, but if I add a very potentially successful sales bucket to my calendar, it is November 1st to November 20th. That is for my loyal customers. That is for my day in, day out, my VIPs. And I really say, let's do something special for them, including maybe just sending them a Thanksgiving card. Thanks for being part of the family. No ask, just a thanks. Maybe there's a sale. Maybe there's new markdowns taken. Maybe it's a gift with purchase. Maybe it's a $5 to $10 gift card just because, a coupon to use. But those people know you, love you, and if we could get them to shop early, it relieves a lot of stress. Obviously, you've got I'm using the word Black Friday through Cyber, Monday and Giving Tuesday, right? That's a bucket that probably goes into the first week of December. And then we go into last minute gifts. And I know it doesn't seem like December 5th is last minute, but if you move your mindset into last minute before anybody else does, you have a better shot of getting their dollars. So to me, this year is even more critical. If you did 50 touch points last year between emails and social media posts, and kind of in-store activities, and combined all of that, partnerships with other people, I'm telling you right now, you should do 60 or 70 because it's just crowded. I was in a store yesterday, and it was absolutely set up for Christmas already. It wasn't even Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was out front. Christmas was set up in the back, right? And I think I'm getting emails. I'm sure you all personally are, and that's just these bigger stores understanding they're going to have to communicate more to possibly get, the message across. So urge you to think early, think about those buckets. Where is your planning? What do you have going on in each of those buckets? And do I need to ramp it up? Can I make it better? Service providers, right? If you go into November and December and you're on the service side, right, make sure to review the sales by category. Are they all grooms like they were last year, large breed grooms, or are they moving to baths and nail trims this year and they're going to skip the groom? What's your sales by category? And then one thing I mentioned to the group earlier today, What is the cancellation rate? You know, I am worried that your cancellation rate on the service business will be higher this year. Do you know what it was from last year? Have you looked at it? Do you need to overbook appointments by 20% so that you achieve 100% booking? Do you have the right, optimization of your groomers on there? Are you what do you call it? Are you leaving too much gap in the schedule? So, in each case, there's actions that you can take now to plan for what to do, right? So, I understand that your store doesn't look like this. You don't sell shoes. That's the first thing. But conceptually, is this your recovery after a big sale event? How do we make this not happen? What do we need to do? Where is the chaos? Is it at when they walk in? Is it that the flow of the store isn't set up? Do I need more tables with my gift items now? Is it my scheduling? I don't have peak scheduling. I have everybody that wants to come in at 9 and work 9 to 6, but I really don't have anybody from 5 to 5 to 6 or 5 to 7 when I really should be or could be doing more sales. Because what does my checkout line look like? Do I have the impulse gift set up so that I can optimize my sales? Where is, are more than 3 people standing in line? We're going to talk about that in a second. What do I need to do when that occurs? So I give you this image as a way to say, I need to act now so that this doesn't happen. Or frankly, maybe this is just inevitable, but I need a way to recover from this. And I don't have a recovery set up in my plan right now. If it gets to this point, what does recovery look like? Who does recovery, right? Busy days are great, but recovery on those busy days, filling in, stocking, in real time is another way to make sure that doesn't affect optimal sales, right? It's all about the pre-planning and anticipating that there may be chaos. What's the recovery from the chaos? Where are the points where it goes wrong, right? So do you know what your busiest flow is? What are your busiest times of the day on the retail side and on the service side, right? How do I optimize that? I understand that, groomers groom and that's their best use of their time. What else can we take away from them so that they don't? I say walk the store, or service floor as a mystery guest. Ask your friends to come in. Ask somebody to view your business as an outsider. Where are the gaps? What can you do to improve the performance, right? Where's the bottlenecks? Maybe it's as simple as I need to shift the flow, right? Customers come into a retail store specifically and will go right. Okay, that's just the flow, if you will. So what does the right look like? Is it full of holiday giftables, or is it like overpacked with a fixture right in someone's face that they can't get around, right? That my dog comes in. Is it a low hanging? This is an end cap here. You see with the collars and leashes, but do you have your treat bar? Is it low so that the dogs get interested and get engaged? Do you have something that is great that stops the dogs and they can't wait, and you make sales from it, but it stops everybody else from walking in the store? How do we shift that a little bit? Maybe move that to the left. How do we get more people in through the right? So the idea of the bottleneck, of the flow, where the signage goes, how to direct people, things like, remember the first slide we talked about asking your staff? Ask them where the bottlenecks are. They are the ones doing it. Is that the register? Is it that it takes too long to log in? Or is it there's too many things that they have to ask people for? And that maybe we could solve the problem by having a floater on the selling floor and taking care of something right away. Okay? Inventory obviously is critical. This is just, how do you set up your front window? That's one thing. But essentially run your selling report for November, sales by category for November, sales by category for December. How many units did you sell? What was your average retail price point? And have you set up your selling floor to make that happen again and again? Right? I understand that you have a row where people can find the products. That's great. My recommendation is at this time, there's an expression, and I didn't put it in this presentation, but it's one that I would urge you all to think about. pile it high and watch it fly. Pile it high and watch it fly. So, tabled merchandise in an easy, grabbable, impulse way will help your inventory turnover. And then you fill the table with something else when you sell out of that. Pile it high and watch it fly. If you have a table that has a drape over it, best place to store to restock that table. Right? So go to your local Michael's, or I don't even know what the local fabric store is here anymore. I live in Maine. I could tell you that you should go to Rennie's for that, but I don't know where it is in your world. Okay. But the idea is, or Martin's if you're in Maine, but the idea is something reasonably inexpensive, an old sheet, but all of a sudden you have everything underneath the table to restock it, pile it high and watch it fly. You can just tell Matt, he's like, that's going to come up somewhere. I know he's going to put that some conversation down the road. I can just see his face. Service providers, right? Again, we talked about sales by category. What do you need to do? This is not the time to order, if you're a retailer, from your distributors with those little used things. Spend the money on the items that are going to sell in the next 60 days. You guys know I plan inventory. 60 days of inventory is all you should have. But in this time of year, you don't need more apparel. You don't need more leashes. Maybe you need some novelty collars. You don't need a ton more harnesses. You probably don't need that extra order of sweaters. You need the stuff that's going to sell. And if you have on the floor right now, repurpose it, repackage it, make it a bundle, make it giftable. Do not overspend on things that are not going to sell in the next 60 days. Consumables, giftable essentials, right? Quick turnover stuff is what, we're really focused on right now, right? You can get back into goods. I mean, I know this sounds aggressive to people, but think about it. What is selling in the next 7 days? What is selling in those 3 buckets we talked about? And in this world, and we are lucky that we're in the pet world, you can reorder, you can buy for 2 weeks from now. You can buy 3 weeks from now. You can plan, right? As long as you know what you need in December. If we talked about, right, here's how I'm hedging my bets on toys. I want you to have some holiday toys to make a display. I want you to promote them. I want you to put them on a table. I want you to be ready to go and be aggressive. I want you to sell them to your best customers right between the 1st and the 20th of November. And if some key toys sell, I want you to buy back more. If you've bought them already and you have no flexibility and they don't work, now we're trapped, right? So now you do a little bit of a push. Okay, I bought a lot, I bought them in advance. Okay, now let me just do a small discount, 10 to 15%. When you do that, you will see what the best selling ones are going to be, because that will be the ones that go first. So now you don't reorder everything. Maybe you just say, I'm gonna reorder this 1 bestseller, 2 bestsellers, and then I'm gonna move through them. And that's it. So it's the anticipation of what you need, right? This requires pull your sales reports. What sold, right? What are the top 20, right? What are the top 100 SKUs last year? There might be some items that sell only in November and December. I want you to sell those this year. I want you to market those this year, right? We talked about not reordering. If you if you plan your inventory and you just replenish what sold last week, this is the time to look at it and say, I don't need to buy that extra, bed. I don't need to buy that extra shampoo. I have 3 different types of shampoo. I don't need to replenish this 4th shampoo. The 3, if they want to buy it, they will. What are my core holiday items, right? What do I want to put on that table to pile it high and watch it fly? What other items do you need for your December boarding and grooming? Yes, you might get a deal because, again, you're dealing with manufacturers and vendors who want to do year-end sales as well. So some of you will tell me this is the time they offer the shampoos on sale. So I buy, the next 6 months. Okay, but now that takes the cash out of your bank, right? And it leaves your shelves full of products that you may not need for the next 6 months. Is that savings really worth it? Or can you wait till February when you really need the reorder and buy it then so that you hedge your bets? All right. Scheduling. Again, labor Do you know? I just want you to know, how many payroll hours did you have last year? What is the busiest times of the day? Can you work with your team now and say, hey, who can give me a little bit of a shift? I'd like to, the store's open till 7. Can you, instead of coming in at, 9 and staying extra and paying overtime, can I shift you to 11 to 7? Or can I shift you from 12 to 8? I need you to work 2 Saturdays, this in the next, 8 weeks. Or can you do me a favor? How do you work with your team to schedule the hours that you need and not only, these are the only hours I work? Hopefully they'll be able to work with you here. But where are my biggest hourly sales? What are my transactions by day? If everybody needs to work on these 5 to 7 busiest days, then how do I adjust my schedule accordingly? Right? And I am not looking for you to get rid of people here. Usually people need more hands on deck. I get it. But can I have you in the right spot? That's the best thing, right? Having your staff in the right spot is better than, paying overtime and essentially needing overtime because we just need to tweak it a little bit. Do I need to cross train so that people can be, one associate? Can they be the hostess? Can they be an extra checkout person? Can they run the iPad to be that third register? Can I have somebody be a greeter? Can I have somebody, focus on training the receptionist to handle the walking the dogs back and forth, or upsell customers for my grooming business with some retail giftable products? So all these things are possible if you start to plan them now. Right? That's where I'm going with this. Maintaining quality, right? I talked about high volume days. Yay, we're all excited that we're going to have them, right? But what do you do so that that chaos doesn't occur? I call it the rush mode system. What plans do you have in place for when it gets busy? And by that, I mean when my customer people waiting online are 3 to 4, when I've got 3 to 4 washes, when I've got nail trims, when I've got people, do I need a greeter? Do I need a runner? Do I need a checkout? Think of what I'm talking about as the express checkout. Does anybody, have a credit card? Great, come here, I can take you with the iPad. Think about strategies to enact when it gets busy so that your customers don't do the unthinkable, which is exit because the line's too long, right? So, and then how do I thank my team for knowing when that occurs, or how do I give them a signal for what it is and when to do it, right? You need a plan, and your staff will thank you, your customers will thank you. So consistency under pressure. Here's the plan. Scan this. This is your rush mode checklist. So this is, what do I do? Yeah, and I just took an example. So it may need to be tweaked for your business, but if you don't have one, start here, because I just said, okay, I want no more than 4 customers in line, or no more than 3. So what can I do? Let me look at the line. What happens today before you have a rush, before you even thought about this? Some of you may have one, but if you don't, look at your line. What do customers do when they're standing in line? Are they bored? Are they on their phones? Are they thinking about leaving? Are they going to, give up and come back another day? How do we keep them engaged? Give them maybe it's a QR code while they're waiting in line. Maybe it's 2 or 3 QR codes to teach them to ask questions so that they can. Maybe it's grab and go gifts, right? This retailer I was telling you was set up for Christmas. It was just a TJ Maxx, right? Because I had to get something. But they had the line, and sure enough, in the line was all of these things to keep us busy. The grab and go, the extra $5, $10 item. The line, my husband is an operations management professor, right? So I know way too much about what they call queuing theory, which is the motivation and mindset of customers as they wait in line. A skill set that no one needs to know. Trust me, I've got it all covered for you. However, there is some validity to, instead of having a line that goes straight to the register, weaving your line. So maybe you set up, some rope and, poles that you turn the corner. People like to move. I was just away. Think about I was in a customs line. I was not kidding you. These lines were 50 feet long. I'm like, why don't we just go for longer? It's about continually moving. And what can you do while people move? What can you give them to entertain them while they move? That's what your rush mode checklist can help you do. Festive, right? Keep them booking, right? I got my hair done a few weeks ago, and this was something I thought was really cool for you service providers. It was a rebooking calendar at the front desk that was not a QR code, but it could be. But it was, hey, if you're on a 4-week cycle, here's 4 weeks from today, here's the date. Here's 6 weeks from today, here's the date. Here's 8 weeks from the date, here's 10 weeks. It made it very quick to make the rebooking, because this was when, so if your pet is on a schedule for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, here you go. And the rebooking takes, no time. You could put a QR code next to though and have your calendar right there. Okay. You could have, again, boarding, you could have an add-on quickly, dropping the dog off. Great, here, add a boarding add-on. Send out a QR code if people want to add on while their dog, is at boarding. 3 people, 4 people checking in at the same time for boarding, for daycare, for grooming. What do you do? That is your rush mode right there. How do you convert more people so that while they're waiting, they're not, getting upset? Okay. Now we get into holiday sales scripts, because instead of just asking, how can I help you, right? And you may not even have somebody to do that. How do we make sure that we have that person to do that? We just talked about scheduling. Do you have somebody that's a floater that can be on the floor solving problems, right? That is able to shift and to know how to do things, right? But also to engage customers. Glad to see you back, right? A lot of you guys have personal customers. So, the customers. So, hey, how is my dog's name's Cooper? How is Cooper doing? But if not, friendly framing. Oh, great. Are you shopping for your pet today? Are you looking for a gift? That's really what's going on in the next, 60 to 70 days. How do we convert browsers, right? By pointing out, hey, just want to give you a heads up. This table packed with our best sellers, right? Pile it high and watch it fly. These are the items. If you're looking for a gift, this is this season's hottest, trendiest gifts for pets. We keep it real simple here. These are our fast grab and go gifts. They're pre-wrapped. Here's what it is. What's your price point? Here's our gift card. You know what I mean? You can just scan a QR code and, you can get an e-gift card. We can get you an e-gift card with a pre-booking for your next grooming, or a $25 gift card with a bag of treats. There you go. Easy gift and ready to go, right? Overcoming objections. You may have price point objections this year, right? How do you work with your team to overcome not only customer interaction, but overcoming objections, right? How do we specifically ask for their dollars, right? You want me to hold this? Yeah, you're just looking now, no problem. Come back, great, let me hold it for you. These are the only ones we have left. No problem, happy to hold it for you till tomorrow. I worry that for some of you who have junior sales team, sales members, that this overcoming objections, whether it's price, whether it's converting the sale, could be a problem this holiday season, more than years past, right? If we have a reluctant purchaser who wants to spend less, and we have a reluctant salesperson who also, isn't as comfortable, hasn't been in the store that long, how do we convert, right? How do we do that? Think about the next generation. I know you deal with this every day, but it's really critical that we convert now while they're here, buying their bag of food, right? So I have created a holiday scripts. There's 6 selling scripts here. So if you want to scan them, just download them. Do role play with your team, right? How do I decide what should be happening, right? And it's not just your selling code, but between the rush mode and your selling scripts, how do you start your meetings? Like, let's do a role play, price, sensitivity, or like I said, giftables, right? So 2 downloads for you there. Absolutely use them, work with your staff on them, have fun with them, but also make sure that when you're doing your planning, that you can get what you need out of each transaction. All right. We talked about, obviously, waiting time. We don't want that to happen. That's what that rush mode goes into. What can you do? What is your sample treats, your quick grooming tips, your pet gift list, anything that we can do to divert and distract a customer from being in line and being pissed off is really what we need to get to. I want you all to have such a seamless operation and have, two registers open once it gets to be 12 o'clock or 5 o'clock because that's what you need. I want you to have a third person who can always jump on an iPad, right, and do cash outs anywhere in the store. I want you all to have a buy online, pick up in store process, that that you can help customers just pick up what they need right away, right? All these things I want you to have so there is no line, but if there is a line and it's causing customers grief, I want you to be able to solve that problem too. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So, quick boosters, as I like to I'm calling it fast track revenue, right? Besides my pilot high and watch it fly table, which I always want you to have, signage, right? 3 for a price, buy one, save. You'd be surprised. I read a survey. Anybody have a guess as to, let's throw this in the chat if you want, but anybody have a guess as to what people prefer? And when I say people prefer, I mean from a sale perspective. Do they want a price point or can they figure out the percentage off? Anybody? Customers. How many of your customers do you think can't figure out what the percentage off is? It's a high number. When I say that, and I don't mean that to be disparaging to your customers, I'm just being real. So dollar typically works better. Price point typically works better with a savings percent in parentheses. So, hey, $19.99, this was $25, that's 20% off, as opposed to 20% off $25. Okay. Add bundles. Try bundles, right? Limited time, every 3 days. You want to build a sense of scarcity. Put bundles on this table, and all of a sudden, when the bundles are gone, what do you mean? What happened? I was just in here, or I didn't buy it. That's how it works. Change your tables, put it on your social media feed, put it in your emails, tell your customers to look for it. That's a great way to keep, scarcity going and to work through all those holiday toys and items that you bought. Once you add them to the tables, once you make them, the best thing since sliced bread, you will have a much, much better outcome, right? I say this, I want you to have time-bound offers, and that could be 3 days, that could be 5 days, don't go longer than that. That's why typically sales, if you go over a weekend, you will see, if you have a 10-day sale, right? Your first weekend is really where your big push is. That's whether that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You will have a lull during the week, and then you'll want to ramp it up again for the next weekend. So people lose interest. You got to keep them focused, short bursts of attention. We are basically all living in an ADD society, as you all know, right? So you got to keep those offers fresh. And certainly any of you who work with Matt, maybe some of you, right? 2 off of 8, it's a good point. Matt says 2 off of 8 doesn't seem like a lot, but it is 25%, right? But people don't get that. And also, Matt, we don't want to sell $8 items. We want to sell $15 items, right? $20 items. Nobody wants to buy $8 items. That's the add-on item. Although funny enough, an $8 add-on on a $30 sale is also, right, a big percentage add-on. So here's a quick way to think about this. And I did Halloween because it's sort of appropriate, but what are SKUs that you can bundle? That whether that's a grooming salon or whether that's, a spotlight bundle of the week, start this now, right? This is $15 extra. It's teeth brushing, it's nail filing. It may not be pumpkin spice shampoo is what you might be using already. A picture you might already take. Teeth brushing and nail filing may be part of your grooming, but when you call it out, it makes it very different. So really what you're doing here, might be adding a nail filing or might be adding a teeth brushing. And these are the services that, could get you. Now think about Christmas. I gave an example earlier today. A lot of my service providers end up seeing a large percentage of baths, right? Because there's Christmas photos in the offing for their pets. How do you add additional space for washing, can you in your locations? Just a quick wash. That doesn't have to be a professional groomer. That has to be somebody that, you know, is training, or you hire a freelancer for the day to come in and pay them, you know, $100, $150 for an 8-hour shift. It's cash. And all of a sudden the revenue that you book, you know, and can make from that day, you know, what that is a 20-minute, 30-minute wash, more than pays for it, more than pays for that. So the ways to think about it, right? Bundling your top 3 SKUs, track your daily sales until Christmas, right? An upgrade table. And I mean this sincerely. I'm talking about physical things you can do in the store that don't cost a lot of money. My hope and assumption, though I'm saying it now in case it hasn't made the connection for you guys, is that everything we're talking about here gets communicated in all of your emails, on your website, via your social media, whether that's in stories, whether that's in reels, whether that's in posts, right? It's, if you do something somewhere in the store, use this sign in the store, take a picture of the sign in the store. Your table that I'm asking you to set up on your website or on your social media feed again and again. When you change it, I'm setting up the table. What should we add today? Oh my gosh, look at this. There's only 3 left, right? That's how you create that fear of missing out moment. Just text us, make a comment, and we'll hold one for you. Buy it via this. We'll charge your credit card, and it'll be waiting for you. Pick it up in store before the end of the day. Right? Statistics about how many people buy gifts for their pets are great. We should use them on social media, but now we have to convert them with the products that you actually have in the store. Make it simple, make it easy for them to understand. Look at your average retail transaction in your store, in your grooming salon this year, and then create a bunch of posts, content that is $5 more than that, with products that are $5 more than that, with services that are $5 to $10 more than that. Right? We got to push the envelope. Low impact, low cost, high impact. My apologies. These are simple, and I just pulled these. These were videos, and I didn't want to load video into this presentation. But this is a social media post, right? Simple in-store signage, right? Throw it in a picture, throw it in a video. And there are like probably, I picked 2, there were like 10 of them. They were just, it was a reel that went on and on. This could be for food. These are foods. There were toys in there. There were treats in there. We haven't factored in Astro in any of this, but that would be another easy way to sort of make this happen again and again, right? Throw it with your Astro offers. But think about your, did I do this? Yeah, I want to show you this. Handwritten, and I understand that some of you are like, wait, I don't work at a bookstore. But the idea that it's staff favorites and that it's a personal recommendation of your great knowledgeable staff pet products. So imagine this being, you know, a series of pet products that you sell in your store from your staff and why they work. That is such an impactful thing because your staff is the expert. Why do we do this type of, if you have a grooming salon, if you have a daycare, you can still do it, right? These are the kind of things we like to do. We love to add a brush, you know, a nail filing and a teeth cleaning in because it helps, right? The same thing with your add-ons for your grooming salon. But I'm trying to show you that there is so much really, really strong, you know, customer impression in the personal approach to things, right? And change this, you know, my staff gift picks for a small breed, large breed, you know, different type of dog, right? Labradoodles, anything you want here, fish, cats, different pets. So this staff favorite can be again and again, repeated again and again. By the way, for those of you that are on the retail side here, I went to a store yesterday. Oh, it was the same TJ Maxx. I don't go shopping for me. I go shopping for all of you. So I didn't even buy anything except a bag of chia seeds. So, but I did happen to peruse their pet section because lo and behold, it's not just dog supplies at TJ Maxx anymore. There is an entire row, and this was in Maine. I'm just giving you a heads up here, small town Maine. there was an entire row of cat products. So it's not just dog anymore at the TJ Maxx, it's cat. And when I tell you to go to your local Walmart, what I'm saying to you, it's not that they have it. You're like, so what do I care? To me, it is a realization that they can make money doing it and that they are sourcing cat products, which means for all of you on the independent side, how do we make sure to talk about the cats too? How do we get the cats groomed? How do we talk about, getting the cats? So anytime a big box store invests shelf space and they're looking at turn as they're looking at turn by the day, right? Faster than you guys are, though I want you to be. To me, that's indicative of an opportunity for a trend. Okay. So rotate, cross promote, right? Shout outs on your flyers. Holiday groom and gift bag combo. Right? Now, couple last two things here. How do I turn my holiday buyers into January regulars? Do a bounce back, do some sort of promotion, sell a gift card, in advance, in December, take in the dollars in December, provide the services in January. Because really what we want to do is we want to keep those people coming back, offer a bounce back. They might only come in for food in January, right? We have lots of bowling alleys in our stores in January. How do we get them coming back and being excited about coming back? So create an offer, create an opportunity, or make it, a forward cash offer that allows you to take in the dollars now and not have to buy the inventory. That's the other thing for those of you, or not have to provide the services when my groomers are full. So buy the grooming now, buy it at a discount. What do I need to do? This bounce back coupon. This was, by the way, a different store. They are calling it, it's an annual bounce back coupon. So they're flat out telling their customers, spend, what do you call it? Save 15 on a $75 purchase to be used in January. And this is, as you can see here, it's on their register tape. Really easy to execute and really easy to, not just with your register, but also within your store to make signage. Right? January restock. We basically want to get people to come in again who might only be first time or holiday only shoppers, right? That's the key. The other thing I mentioned this morning in the seminar was a gift card sale. How do you sell gift cards? And they said this, create this scarcity, only 5 allowed. You can buy only 5 gift cards, pay, $50 and get an extra 10. Right? That's the 20% off. Give them, the year to use it. You book the sales now. You don't have to buy any more product for it. You don't have to provide the service for it. And then they use it on the other side of the year. Do I want them to use it? Absolutely. Secretly? Do I want them to buy it? Of course. But do I care if they use it in January? Yes, because I want to book it. So maybe you put 30 days, but maybe if they buy 5, you give them 6 months. Maybe that gets the extra groom in that they weren't going to use. Maybe that gets the extra, higher spend on the dog food because they got a savings. So maybe it raises our average retail price. All right. And then it's all about you, right? How do you communicate? That's just what I want to leave you with, is how do you communicate and make sure that you are the leader of this bus, that you make sure that your team gets on board and that they are paying attention and that you're giving them what I call micro wins, small contests again and again, celebrating their successes so that everybody wins, right? That's you and what you need to do for your team, right? And I say this, if you've never heard of this, go take a look, right? Keep doing this activity, stop doing this activity, or start doing this activity. Right now, it is all about you and managing your time and making sure that what you do delivers results. So if it eliminate, delegate, give it to someone else, how do I do my time, protect my time so that I'm constantly managing the stuff that we've been talking about here today? Does that make sense to you guys? All right. And then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is, converting your ideas into actions. Take this call, use the momentum, spend the time, plan it, deliver it to your team, and keep the momentum going. And I was throwing cute dogs for good looks, right? All right, Matt, does anybody have any questions? this, I just wanted to leave you guys. This is a chart. So again, this is just a summary of what I'm talking about here. So that's why I leave you with this chart, because you can plan to profit. Simply put, inventory, staff, right? Quick promotions, bounce back coupons. If you do nothing, take this chart and implement these 4 ideas, you'll be good to go. Trying to make your lives easy, guys. I swear, I really am.
We do have a question, but before we do that, Lynn, I will just direct you to the chat. But before we do that, I do just want to open it up, guys. Can we thank Lynn for her time and all this information that she just dropped on us? Also, I love this last table that really kind of summarizes everything and gives you everything in a really neat place. So, guys, yeah, you're getting some love in the chat, Lynn. We do have a question from Sally as well. So Sally has an old inventory question. She's got limited floor space, wondering if she should use her sales rack now for the holidays and then move out the old inventory after January 1st.
I think it depends on if the inventory is really distressed. If it could be bundled and put together in like a mystery bag, you might want to do that, post Christmas for sure. If it is not totally distressed and would be great in a gift bag bundle, then, put together a $50, gift bag and offer it as a Black Friday blockbuster at 50% off or $20. You know what I mean? Or $25. If it's not even in season saleable, then yeah, just wait. You know what I mean? But if it's possibly that somebody, that person wants to buy a gift and has a $20 budget for their pet, you have probably 10, 15 things that are $20 that would be great gifts. And this could be one of them. Buy our $20 gift bundle, you know what I mean? Or, this is a great, it's got, it's perfectly good. It happens to be on sale. So it'd be fun to put 3 or 4 or 5 items that were regular price that were great. And then, by the way, this is another great option here. You want to, you want to get the best bang for your buck. We happen to have 2 or 3 left of these, and they are also $20. So, but if it's not in season and saleable, then yeah, wait till afterwards. Make sense? Okay. Who else here? Let's see.
That is the only question that we had in the chat so far. But if anyone else does have a question, please feel free to drop that in the chat. I know we're a few minutes over right now, so.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even notice that because I was so excited about all of you. You guys are so good. Thanks for sticking with me here. But you can see, yeah, but I always want to make sure that you get stuff to implement. Like, that's why this chart felt like it was really important. So if you really, this is when someone says, hey, what's the most important thing? Well, here you go. I did it for you in chart form so that you can really sort of, I know you're all busy. I worry about you being busy, but I also know that if you don't make time to do this, we're going to have a conversation in January about what we didn't do and how it did or didn't happen this year, right? So I'm not stressed about anything that I present to you. I'm stressed that I don't have a way to give all of you an extra hour in every day. But I'm working on that. That I will get back to you on. Although...
yeah, if only you could just give someone an additional hour. But hopefully all of these strategies do help you guys find some, or at least make
that to me is the key.
Work on this stuff.
Yeah. Leverage is another word. If I could give you 30 minutes, it's probably leverage what you've done in the past. You've probably done some of these ideas before. Re-engage yourself, your business with them, reinvigorate them, give them new life. Maybe you did something great in June that for your, summer sale that you could turn around and put some, use Canva and put some holiday motif on and have it work just as well. Maybe there was a great email that you sent. Go back and look at the numbers. What was the subject line? How do I reframe it? How do I change the color to red and green? Boom, inventory with a new picture, and it's done. Then also reach out if you need help.
How can people reach you, Lynn?
What?
How can people reach you?
Well, there you go. That's how people can reach me. That is how you can all reach me. That's my WhatsApp. If any of you or all those Canadians in the room who don't have American cell service, just call me, or don't want to dial US phones. Trust me, I know. I'll be in Ontario next week. I saw someone from Cambridge. So if you're still here, reach out to me. I'm starting my 5-month trek back to the homeland next week.
Amazing. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And
Always, always. Thanks for having me.
guys, we appreciate your time and attention, and kudos to everybody for taking an hour out of their day to work on their business rather than just be on the hamster wheel in their business. So guys, you know how to reach Lynn, you know how to reach the Pet Industry Network. We'll let you out of class for now, and we hope you have a great rest of your day and week, and don't be a stranger. We're around.
Thanks for being here, you guys. Good luck this holiday.